Good morning, friends. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. It's starting to drizzle lightly here in Pennsylvania, but I wanted to pop out to all the gardens and take a look at some new flowers that are in bloom. And I thought we would do this as a flower arrangement garden tour to really share what's blooming and looking beautiful in each garden, and then to try to design just a simple piece with some of these beautiful bulbs that are blooming in late April. So here in the hydrangea room, the main star is La Belle Epoque tulip, which has now turned this amazing coffee color. Doesn't it look like a beautiful dusty brown rose? And I love the shades of antique rose that it has along the sides. And I paired this with prairie fire crabapple branches, reblooming lilac, columbine, Kodiak black trevella, and a few stems of hellebores. So I believe I used 10 stems of La Belle Epoque to make this arrangement. I have 100 La Belle Epoque here in the hydrangea room, but what I really need to show you is this amazing concertina iris. I think this is the most beautiful iris that I've ever seen in real life. Can you believe all of these beautiful soft colors? Amazing soft peach. Check out the dusty lavender beards on that almost flow to a gold color. And I just love the color combination here of this concertina iris backed up by La Belle Epoque. We have some other bearded iris in this area. My husband always calls them the grape soda bearded iris. They were at our other home, and so I dug some up and spread them around this garden. But I think the color of his grape soda bearded iris pairs really, really nicely with concertina because it's kind of picked up in that inner beard. Isn't that just breathtaking? So lots of nice peaches, soft purples, and greens in the hydrangea room. And so there's kind of what we can expect in terms of an arrangement from this area. And for frame of reference, today is April 27th here in Zone 6B, Southern Pennsylvania. At this point, we're well past the last expected frost, but the weather has been quite strange. It warmed up really quickly in early April and then cooled down. So somehow I have daffodils, tulips, bearded iris, and alliums all blooming at the same time. That's got to be a first. But for now, let's say goodbye to the hydrangea room, where it looks like Rocky is taking a nap under the shade of a lace cap hydrangea. And let's go check out what's blooming in the main flower walk. Now we're on the left-hand side of the main flower walk, and my inspiration for this piece was for it to be a fragrant design to be on our dining room table. So I used some beautiful double file viburnum along with snowball viburnum, and then I tucked in lots of beautiful white lilac for that wonderful fragrance before adding in some Alba bleeding heart, some yellow cheerfulness daffodils, and then I finished the design off with cream upstart tulips and blushing lady tulips. And isn't it just wonderful to be out here and hear the birds and the sound of water? And since the last time you saw the garden, we do have a few new tulips in bloom. Amazing Grace, Amazing Parrot, and Elegant Lady. So let's go take a closer look at those now. So I had paired Amazing Grace, which is this beautiful pink variety, with this lovely Elegant Lady tulip, but in retrospect, I think that was a mistake. I thought their heights were going to be a little bit more similar, and I sprinkled this combination all throughout the main flower walk. I have it repeated twice on the right side of the border and 3 times on the left side of the border, but I think the heights are just too off and the colors don't really mesh together as I had anticipated. So it's not something I would repeat again. But one tulip I'll definitely plant again and plant even more of are these amazing parrot tulips. I just love the hot pink and coral colors. I love the way the petals look like bird feathers. I think I had ordered 50 of these bulbs. Unfortunately, some of the bulbs weren't very good, and I think I had to dispose of some of them because we're definitely not looking at 50 tulips here. But this is such a beautiful variety. I love parrot tulips. I think I could just stare at these all day. So I definitely want to order a lot more of these amazing parrots next year. Here on the bench we have a free-form design that's been created from bleeding hearts, azalea, then the white and pink tulip is called Infinity. The large peony flowering tulip that's pink is Amazing Grace. And then we also have some purple flag, and Purple Dream is the purple lily tulip that's sunk into the side of the design. This is just a free-form design, something that I would put in the kitchen. I'm not using a floral frog for this, just nice and simple and fresh. I've also been really impressed with apricot box, not only because of the beautiful coloring and how it aged from a nice orange to this soft peach, but really for its longevity. You can see I have it here, and I also have it right at the entrance to the main flower walk, and it appears to be very weather resistant thus far, and it does appear to be the longest lasting tulip, aside from Blushing Lady, which is also lasting well. Over here in the driveway garden, we've shifted from daffodils to alliums. The gladiator alliums are in bloom, and the bees are just loving these. I'm so happy with the quality of these bulbs. These are from Longfield Gardens, and I'm getting 3 flowering stems per bulb. I think Dr. Seuss must have had alliums in his garden, because don't these just look like drawings from his books? And if I remember correctly, we should have 3 different allium shows. We'll have the Gladiator, then we'll have Pinball Wizard, Christophii, Schubertii. We'll have Mount Everest over in the hydrangea room. And then I think I might have one more sprinkled somewhere else. But you can see a lot more of those wonderful allium heads in here yet to bloom. And then the alliums will be followed by a succession of lilies. So I'm really trying to establish this as a bulb garden that's quite natural in nature, at least as natural as possible. I remember reading that Gladiator was an early allium, but I had no idea that it was this early. It's blooming right along with Purple Sensation, and you can see some more of those bearded iris in here. We also have a new bearded iris in here called Ozark, which is a deep purple, along with October Splendor, which I can kind of see is just starting to open up. Will probably be open by the end of today. So now let's take a walk through the raised bed gardens, and also we can take a look at the hydrangea annex. I've been working on that the last few days, moving some plants over there and kind of getting my mind straight in terms of what I want out of that garden. So this garden is in its infancy. I basically just started working on it about a week ago. We prepared the area last fall by laying down cardboard and some mulch on top. Or maybe we didn't even lay mulch, maybe we just used some compost. But what I've done is move some hydrangeas over into this area. I also wanted a little bit of lime to tie in Grace's garden, which is on my left. So I brought over some Sun King Aurelia, all plants that I had in the garden already. Also, I had some columbine getting buried over in my grandma's garden, so I popped that in here. The one plant I did purchase for this area is this beautiful Jacob's Ladder, and the bees are loving that as well. I have some Jacob's Ladder over in the hydrangea room, and my goal for this area is to really just repeat the plantings of the hydrangea room and Grace's garden to kind of make all the areas work together as harmoniously as possible. But you can see that garden is really just in the beginning stages. The next thing I want to do is go ahead and bring over the boxwood plantings and terracotta that I have over in the hydrangea room, and then work out from there. I need to bring in some hellebores, some phlox, some foxglove, and then in the fall come in with some alliums, just so everything kind of goes together. Now we can take a walk through the raised bed gardens, and how do you guys think it's shaping up based on where we started at the beginning of the year? I'm so happy not only with the addition of the deck, but also with the removal of that large plastic pot, the addition of these wonderful trellises from Plow and Hearth, and I think it's really saying something. You know, they did send me 6 for free, just being completely honest, and then I immediately turned around and purchased 2 more because I was just so happy with the quality, and I really wanted to get this look of kind of a big room with the big obelisks and then a smaller room in the center. I also purchased this solar fountain on Amazon, and it's working really well. It has these little feet on the sides so that it stays in the center of the bird bath and it doesn't splash all around. So we can just look through all the raised beds together. I've planted out some of my Saving Grace dahlia seedlings. So this is from Save Seed, from a tuber that I grew from seed last year. We have sweet peas and cup and saucer vine growing up that trellis. The box here has 2 different kinds of snapdragons in it. I was hoping those would be ready for Mother's Day, but to be honest with how the weather's been, I'm really doubtful that we'll have sellable blooms on the snapdragons. This next bed has gladiolus in the front, that's the bare soil you see, sweet peas, and a mixture of bachelor's buttons and love in a mist. The next planting has our lilies and saponaria. I'm really happy with how that's looking so far. I think we better come in here and thin the saponaria out, but they seem to be working well together. Some bupleurum behind that. I just stuck some of my amaryllis in this raised bed as an experiment. Oh, what is Rocky doing in the background? Oh my word. And that bed's gonna be for vegetables. Here we have breadseed poppies, along with more sweet peas and cup and saucer vine. Oh, here's a look at my grandma's chair. I haven't got back here with mulch yet, but we have lots more alliums here and a planting of a lot of blue annuals from seed. So we do have some of the bachelor's buttons in bloom. And what I want to do this year is a bigger dried flower Christmas tree. So I'm going to be harvesting some flowers that I haven't tried drying in the past. And I definitely want to give bachelor's buttons a try. I've seen people dry them and they seem like they dry really well and maintain their color nicely. This is kind of that cool flowers quilt work bed that happened by accident when all my seed got washed all around. Just a complete mistake on my part. But we have Orlea grandiflora, we have bupleurum in here, and bachelor's buttons. And these were all planted so closely together. I mean, the seed just got washed all around and probably some seed blew in from previous years, but so far so good. The bed behind that I'm using as a holding bed where I'm just planting things that don't have their permanent location as of yet and then transferring them into another location. So there's basically half a bed of ranunculus here. The other half went into the hydrangea annex. And then I put my statice and another planting of lilies in there. Growing up this trellis is hyacinth bean vine. Then directly in front of us looks kind of messy, but to me it looks okay. But back there is where we have the dried flower garden with straw flowers right in front of my compost pile. And also Saving Grace dahlia seedlings are going to grow up those stakes. This bed has our red and orange ranunculus that I planted out much earlier than normal in the hopes of having ranunculus for Mother's Day. But once again, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. It looks like I'll probably get them in late May, as I normally would. Here's a look at how our cool flowers experiment with Sweet William is doing. On the left-hand side, we have fall planted Sweet William, On the right-hand side, we have the exact same Sweet William, planted in the same exact manner, started inside and then planted out. This planting happened in very early spring, and I think you can really see that stark contrast. These would be ready for harvest for Mother's Day, so the question is, will I have anything to pair them with? But look at that huge difference between fall planted Sweet William. They were uncovered all winter. The lowest temperature we experienced was 4 degrees Fahrenheit, totally uncovered. And then the very early spring planted Sweet William. I think there's a clear winner here. And so here's just a closer look at where I'm going with this new garden. The fencing is there just to teach Grace not to walk in this area. And this is also where I relocated the tricolor beech to, and it's just starting to leaf out. Here's a quick look and update on my front garden and what's in store for this area. For now, I have sunflower Steve's sunflowers planted in here. This is my second sunflower succession. And I also planted a whole bunch of lily of the valley in this area. But my new plan for this area is to really make it a lot nicer, but to also keep it low to no maintenance. So in the fall, when everything kind of goes on sale and on clearance, I'll be picking up lots of evergreen shrubs, and we'll fill in this garden with all of those flowering evergreens so that the soil is really completely covered with something. And hopefully then we're able to kind of choke out all of the issues that I'm having here with the invasive honeysuckle and also mimosa trees and just all kinds of things. I have thistle up here. All the weeds or kind of junk trees that you wouldn't want popping up in a garden have been popping up here since we moved in. And so hopefully we can really take back this garden. And like I said, that will happen in the fall once I can get a lot of plants on sale. So friends, I think that's pretty much how we're looking here. Still lots more work to do. We really need to get to work on bringing in those jewel tones into the main flower walk. And hopefully before we know it, we'll be harvesting and selling flowers yet again. I can't wait to get the stand all set up. It seems like so much time has passed since I've sold flowers. And for the first time in a long time, I haven't sold any tulips. I was really kind of banking on having those early ranunculus ready for Mother's Day. So I didn't hold any tulips in the fridge or anything. So we will just see what happens with this new and interesting weather that we are probably all experiencing. But for now, friends, I want to wish you a wonderful day out there in your gardens. I appreciate each and every one of you with my whole heart. And I'll see you back here in my garden sometime soon. Bye, friends.